Hey guys, welcome to Limit Break Lifestyle Academy, and today we will be talking about public speaking and why is it an essential tool about business, for social, and how you can use it in life as a tool in general. Now today we have a privilege to invite a special guest here today, and he is the founder of Academy of Public Speakers, and we'll be learning the tips and tools and the value of public speaking. He's an award winner, trainer, speaker, and a coach, a mentor. So we'll introduce today Andy O'Sullivan. It's a pleasure to have you, Andy.
John, thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
So how did you get started into public speaking?
I started some years ago, must be 10 years ago, and it was mainly came about because of my background. I'd always worked in City London.
Mm-hmm.
I'd worked for the financial sector and a lot of the big banks we had up there, in the City of London. And one of the things you always notice when you work for, not say those companies, I think, but all companies, they all kind of like to have meetings. And we'd have meetings weekly, sometimes twice a week. Sometimes you didn't wonder why we're having the meetings. I remember having a meeting once to discuss what we were going to do having the meeting, bizarrely. So they liked doing that. And I was always one of those people who'd always kind of hold back. I'd only talk and get involved in the meeting if I felt I had something of value to add.
Mm-hmm.
I would never just be one of those people who make the meeting probably go on longer than it should do because they talk too much. But then after a while, when my career kind of stalled, and I kept seeing the people who joined my team or people who were coming along who were newer, less experienced, but they were moving ahead in their careers, and I was staying back. But it took a while before I realised why. And it's because they were the same people who were actively participating in those meetings. They were the ones volunteering to give the team presentation or to go and do a presentation to another department. Whereas I was the one who kind of stayed back. You know, I'd work the long hours, I'd work the weekends, I'd work the evenings. Yeah. But you know what? They all kind of got forgotten. Management often don't see that or notice that. But you're the one who's actively participating in the meetings. Yeah. They liked that. And they, the guys, I said, who got noticed, they got promoted and rewarded while I stayed back. Mm-hmm. And it took me a while to realize what to do. So that's when I realised that, I've got to improve my confidence. Not necessarily my speaking skills at that point. It was just the confidence to participate in the meetings, to speak up, especially if management were there, senior management particularly. You might want to be more like to hold back. Yeah. And then maybe even one day I thought I'd be able to volunteer to give one of those presentations. So that was kind of like the catalyst and why I started off right at the beginning.
Okay, because saying that reflects back onto how I was in corporate life. Was we had meetings, but there was no reason for meetings in general.
Yeah, often there isn't.
The often reason there was just having meetings for the sake of having a meeting, but never really achieved much, or it was in a process that always took longer than it should do.
Sometimes they don't. You get the people who just talk and talk and talk, or feel they do, or you'll say something, then I just literally repeat it. Yeah. I think John just said that. Why was that guy repeating it? But people did. But the managers, I see them and agree. Why? But you're right. City life and I think corporate life as a whole has a lot of meetings. And people, if you're involved in them, you do have to go. So I used to go to meetings, I think, why am I wasting my life here doing this meeting? Mm-hmm. And so often there's no outcome, which there should be. A good meeting should always have an agenda and an outcome, and a time that it should finish, and you should stick to it. But you have to be seen to participate in those meetings, rather than just sit there quietly. Yeah. If you don't, you just fade into the background, and you're not seen, you're not noticed by your colleagues who start in a way. I won't say looking down, but I don't think they value you as much, and certainly by your managers if you're not really there and taking part in it.
And do you find that that kind of hiding away and not speaking is due to confidence levels, or just in general for social, or even in relationships?
I think a lot of it is confidence. For me, one of the things people always worry about, especially in meetings or any kind of situation, is that am I saying the value? Mm-hmm. Is it right? Because people might laugh if I say it, or everybody suddenly might disagree with me, and we don't want to put ourselves out there. So there's a bit of confidence, and it's something with me that if you open yourself up by giving your opinion, and suddenly you get shot down, it kind of knocks you down, And I used to do that, and so I kind of withdraw back maybe further into my shell, and then never speak again during that meeting.
So is that like more fear of rejections?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is, which is one of the reasons why people don't like talking in public. It is fear of rejection. You know, it's one of the reasons why I used to hate going over to chat to that girl at the bar because of the fear of rejection.
Exactly.
It's the same thing. I think we all have that. When you go and talk to anybody, even like a networking meeting, you have that fear you're going to be rejected.
Before you even speak to them.
Before you speak, you've decided in your mind, haven't you? Exactly. You know, how often, I'm sure you've done this. You know, you want to go talk to the girl at the bar, but no, she's out of my league. She's going to say no. Therefore, you don't go over. You don't make the moves.
Therefore, you don't talk to them at all.
Exactly. And you don't do that. You know, you don't do that. Networking meeting. No point me going and asking my manager that because they're going to say no anyway. And therefore, you don't do it.
But then that's like when you go to investors or when you're looking for funds. If you don't ask, how would you know what the answers are?
Absolutely right. You've got to put yourself out there. You've got to have that confidence to do it. And if you've decided the result is going to be no, then you're never going to. In fact, you never do anything in life.
So you're really setting yourself up to fail.
Totally. And I sometimes used to sit in a meeting and I think, what's a good point? Should I raise it? And I thought, nobody like it. And then literally a second later, somebody else will say it, and people say, yeah, good idea, yeah. You know, then literally get the applause sometimes for it. I thought that.
But you didn't speak up.
I didn't speak up, therefore it was never my idea, it was theirs.
So how did you get into, training people in public speaking?
Well, I think it kind of evolved. When I realised that I needed to improve my confidence, and maybe even step forward occasionally to deliver that team presentation, I started looking at, okay, I've got to do some training. And I didn't want to do it internally, because generally there wasn't really not so much of an opportunity there. So I paid myself courses.
Right.
And some of them were quite frankly appalling. I remember the one that was a 12-week course, they advertised it as advanced, they advertised it as very high volume, learn a lot. It's even hosted by a former TV presenter. Well, exactly, that's what I thought. Oh, wow. This is going to be good. That was my reaction. It wasn't. It really wasn't. It was a waste of my life, going there in the evenings. I mean, can you imagine, you're going to give a presentation. You're not used to giving a presentation. So you create your presentation, you practice, you go along to this night class. But we haven't really got time for you to give it tonight. Well, exactly, how do you feel? You feel upset with that. And I used to say, what? I practiced this for a week. But we'd never had time for people to give their presentations, or maybe one or two in the group, because we spent most of the time walking around doing vocal exercises, doing breathing exercises, lying on the floor with our hands on our stomach and doing all that kind of stuff. Well, that's great when you're at the advanced level. But when you're starting out and you're nervous, learning that stuff is just not right. But it's obviously what this person knew. I'm trying not to identify because I keep going to say so, that would be totally inappropriate. But that's fine. If you're the advanced level and you're talking to large audience, you've got to get your breathing right, really important. But not when there's a small group of you. We want to learn, and I wanted to learn at the time, the techniques. And people, you notice on this course, people started dropping off because they thought, we all got ready for this, and no, we don't do it. So I went to a few courses like that, and it took me a while to learn my skill. And it's taking bits from one, bits from another, bits from a third, and so forth, and kind of putting all those all together to develop my skills. And I suppose what I was going to say is that once I kind of went down that journey and developed those skills, then other people started to see the change in me. And they suddenly realised I'd now actively participated in the meetings, and I'll do the presentation. I was quite happy to do the presentation or whatever it was. So then people started asking me for help.
Right.
And that's how I kind of started getting into the training. It's basically the long way of saying that's how I got into it. By learning the skills first of all, and then going and helping people. And
do you feel finding the right trainers, the right coaches, the right mentors really important in that process?
It's fundamental. It's so difficult. We don't really know who's a good trainer, and when you're trying to find them, a good mentor, it's very difficult, as you know. And all you can do is ask our friend Google, and I ask my friend Google all the time. They give you this long list, and you look. You might sign fun reviews, and maybe something you think is good, like TV presenter, brilliant. It's got to, hear know what it's talking about. But then you realise maybe they don't say it's in auto cue the whole time anyway. So it's fundamentally important to find the right people. And I think when I really got into it, and as I went further down my road, finding people who understood your problem, I think is the key.
Yeah.
Somebody who's got something that they can really understand you and what you're trying to achieve. Because like this guy was from TV, so he probably didn't get it so much. Whereas when I found somebody who's similar to me, working in the corporate world, they knew what it was like to talk to people, talk to the big audiences, they understand offices, they understood when you need talking to bigger groups and even the smaller groups, the one-to-one with your manager.
Yeah.
Maybe when you're having, I don't know if you've had these kind of annual appraisals, where once
Yes.
they're the kind of, you know.
Goal setting, what would you like to achieve by next year?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I don't know, what
should I do?
What should I do? What should I achieve? What should I write down?
You never know what to put down. And I used to pick mine up every year and go, what did I say? Oh, yeah. Try and say, yeah, I've achieved this, and then you go through the next one. But you know, that's a one-to-one meeting, and you've got to be able to express your thoughts, your ideas, concerns, confidently, and even, you know, your manager, you can disagree, you can talk about it, but you've got to be able to do that. Well, sometimes I didn't, my manager said, I think you should do this, okay, I think you should do well, okay, why have you done that?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. But you've got the confidence. And you know, when you build this, and it's like a little journey, you build up your confidence, you can talk in a team, you can do a presentation. Do you know, the effects of when it's one-to-one, it makes such a difference.
So it's finding that connection with that mentor, the trainer,
Absolutely.
the coach.
Whoever it is, so that they know what is it you're looking to achieve. And if you've got the right person, then they will help you.
Yeah.
They'll definitely help you. They can understand it. They can understand your fears. One of the things I personally I'm very good at is I get people who come along who are really scared of public speaking. And so was I. You know, I was petrified of it. Seriously. You know, my first time I gave a speech, I practiced it and you know what, I created a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Right, if I say so. It was perfect. It was a 10-minute speech. And you know, it was brilliant. I delivered it in about 5 minutes, 22 seconds. Right? 5 minutes, 22 seconds. Now, I didn't miss any content out. But I just spoke so really fast because I was so desperate to get away. Yeah? Nobody understood what I said. Right? Because I was so scared. I had the butterfly. You know what? Every symptom you could possibly get when it comes to public speaking, I used to get them. Public speaking, dry throat, palpitations, muscles in my legs twitching, which I didn't even know could twitch. But they did. Yeah. You know, everything, every single symptom.
Saying the right words, or
the words would go out of my mind. What am I going to say? I remember once somebody asking me my name and I hesitated because I couldn't remember because I was so stressed out over giving, you know, my speeches. So I did. I used to wind myself up so badly. So I know when people come to me and they feel like that, I get it. I really do understand what it is, you know, what they're feeling and those symptoms and how they feel. So that in a way, maybe because I've had that pain, and I've gone through that journey. Then maybe that's what I love. I can now help people kind of follow me and go through those steps.
How did you break out of those fears, like in general, like from, I don't know, twitching and speaking really fast?
Yeah.
And just trying to hide away and get it over and done with quickly.
Oh, dear.
How did you overcome it during your journey and during your training?
A lot of people think you've got sort of some super techniques and maybe how to construct a PowerPoint presentation and that's the secret. But you know what? It's all in here. It's what you think. When I knew I was going to give a presentation or speech, I'd go very internal, which would then build up those nerves and the stress on me. I'll start thinking and imagining everything possible that could go wrong.
Right. Everything
that could happen. You know, and it's the same kind of eye questions, you know, it's all about me, like, what if I forget my words? What if I'm not well that day? What if my slides don't work? What if they don't like the slides? What if they don't turn up? You know, it was all about me and what's going to happen to me.
So it's the questions that you ask yourself internally and you're self-sabotaging yourself before.
Absolutely. I mean, everything can possibly go wrong, but you need, why worry about it? You know, the train might not run tomorrow when I want to get there, or something. There's 100 things, but don't put me panicking about the train not running because it may run.
Yeah.
You know, I could walk, I suppose, but then I could trip up and break my leg. Who knows? You can't keep worrying about everything. All I say to people now is focus on the things you can control, and which is quite reasonable to control. For example, if you're giving a PowerPoint presentation tomorrow, fine. You've got it on your laptop, maybe print a copy. Then you've got your notes if you need it. Yeah. You can back up onto a memory stick as well. but then forget it. Don't then start stressing about the building and the fire alarm going off and all these other things that can happen on the day. You know what? You always print a copy, do sensible precautions, but then the rest of it you just have to let go. And instead of focusing internally, I think this is the key for me, was learning not to focus internally.
Right.
Worrying about all these what ifs and what they're going to think of me, and start thinking about the other people. What can I give them? And one of the lessons I learned is, if somebody's got a 10-minute presentation, they've got 10 minutes to talk, people usually, the mindset can often be is, what can I cover in 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Right? So it's well, it should be, what can I share in 10 minutes?
Review.
Yeah, what can I give you in 10 minutes? What can I share with you in 10 minutes? What is it you would like? And make it all about them, the audience.
Yeah.
And when you think about the audience, the listeners whoever's attending your meeting, that changes your mindset totally. In the same way when you're doing anything for anybody, you know, you think about them. You know, if you're hosting a party, you want the people coming to have a nice time. You want them to enjoy it and to walk away happy.
Yeah.
It's not all about you. And that's the way you do your speech, do your presentation. Think about who's coming. What would you like them to leave with? And then make sure they have a nice time. And you know, just doing that one simple thing. Stop asking all these eye questions and focus internally. Focus outwards. That alone, I guarantee, will make a difference.
So it's the service to serve others.
Yeah.
And having that shift in focus to serve, you know, them as the audience and about them. And it's not about, you know, not about me or not about the person who's presenting.
Well, it's not about you. I mean, they don't care if it's you presenting it, probably, or somebody else. It's just the information they want.
Yeah.
And I would say people always come in. They have one radio station. We're all tuned into WIIFM. What's in it for me?
Yeah.
That's all they care about, right? They're all tuned into WIIFM. Right? That's it. Right? That's it. Okay, what's in it for me? Why am I here? Why am I listening to you? You know, most of us have got better things to do. Nobody wants to be there. Sometimes you have to be there, like we said, corporate meetings.
Yeah,
You've got to
you
sit
have to be there.
But you know what? You can make them sit there, but you can't make them listen. You can't make them listen.
Because they'll listen to whatever they want to listen to.
Listen. And you know what? If you're talking and it's not interested, they're tune out. That's why I say WIFM. Because they tune out. They start thinking something else. Where they're going tonight, what they did at the weekend, whatever. Or these days even sit down.
What's for lunch?
What's for lunch, yeah, exactly. It is. What's for lunch? Where are we going for lunch, yeah. And often you see people sitting under the desk with their iPhones or Blackberries and texting and what have you. People do it all the time. So you can't make them listen. Therefore, that's why it's good to think, what can I share with them? What can I give them? What value can I share that will make them want to listen to you?
Okay, and why is it you do what you do? Why do you train people?
You know, so when I first started being asked to help people, seeing that wonderful transformation in people, taking them from somebody who's so nervous that they gave their presentation. You know, I used to feel like a proud father. You know, you see them making that change. You see them going from somebody who's really nervous and struggling with their speech. Sometimes they have those same symptoms that I had. And so that I think helps, because I've been on that journey. I know how they feel. And you can take them from there to there. And it's just such a wonderful, I get a major kick out of it. To seeing that happen, to see that kind of change in people. And it is something that I like doing and I work with.
Okay, so that's very similar to how when we coach people and we get the satisfaction of watching them change, watching them transform, essentially, like dramatically within this
Absolutely, you do.
couple of weeks or so of a bit of coaching and a bit of training.
You see that end result so quickly, don't you?
And that's the satisfaction, you get yourself right. What free advice and tips would you give to people who want to get started in public speaking?
The first one would be to start, which may sound a strange thing to say, but it's often that fear that stops people from starting. I held back, as I said, for ages because I suppose there wasn't the motivation, there's sort of real necessity. It's only when I realised my career wasn't moving forward that I had that urgency, I had to do something about it. So to anybody, I'd always say start. Don't wait until you think you're ready, so you've got everything lined up, which I mean is always tempted to do. I did that as well.
Yeah.
Start doing it, start trying it, and then maybe once you start, then it's probably the second stage is to look at how you structure your speech, how you create it, and how you build the confidence. The confidence is probably what I mentioned earlier. Don't keep focusing internally.
Yeah.
Don't worry about all these millions of things that could possibly go wrong. but focus on your message and what it is you kind of really want to convey to people.
Yeah. I found a mistake when, when I started was holding back from speaking in public because I never felt ready. I never felt like I had enough content to give.
Sure.
I never felt I had enough or I knew enough.
Yeah.
So is that kind of like, how would you overcome that?
I think it's the self-belief, isn't it, that you haven't got any value, which is, as I said earlier, is why I never spoke in meetings, because I thought, I really like it, it's probably not right, but do it, don't, get rid of that kind of self-doubt why you should do it all the time.
Yeah.
Why? Just say it. And let's be honest, right, most of the time what happens in meetings, we'll forget when we walk out the room anyway. So therefore, if you say something people don't like the idea, it doesn't really matter. If you give a presentation and it doesn't go as well as you expected, nobody's going to wake up in the morning thinking about it. It gets forgotten, really quickly. And I suppose the other thing to remember is that when you give a presentation, when you give a speech, whenever you say anything, nobody knows what you're going to say. So if you change it, you forget something, you add something in, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Nobody knows apart from you what you wanted to say. You might kick yourself, which I suggest you don't, because you forgot that one story, that one anecdote you wanted to add in. But don't worry about it, just do it and start building your experience. Like riding a bicycle, you see little kids riding their bike, they fall off, and daddy and mummy have to hold them up. Gradually start doing it and it builds and builds and builds.
So just start taking action.
That's the key, I think.
Take action, massive action, just do it.
Start doing it. And then you'll see where you need to build. Is it how you structure the talk? Is it how you create your slides? Is it how you answer off-the-cuff questions? There's all different aspects you can work on and build your skills and build it up, depending on who you're talking to and what kind of presentation, what kind of speech you want to give to people.
Okay, so the structures and presentations is more about how to make it more clearly presentable, right, to the audience, to the people that you want to spread your message to.
It has to be. It has to be clear to them. But what I often see speakers do is it's not really clear to them, and it's not clear to you what it is you want to say, what you want the people you're talking to leave with. It's never going to be clear to them. You've got to be 100% clear in your mind. And I mentioned earlier that people always tune into WIFM. What's in it for me? So you've got to tell them that right at the beginning.
Yeah.
So those first few sentences of your speech, make them something interesting, something punchy, something maybe totally different, that's going to get people interested. So often you hear people start saying, hello, I'm here today and I'm going to talk to you about blah, 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 blah. Whatever. Or they give you a weather forecast, or they give you the travel information. We don't need to know. Or the other favourite thing which people do as well, when they're nervous, they apologise. I'm really nervous today, I haven't had time to prepare, hopefully this will be all right and you won't get too bored. You start saying that, people think, oh God, this is going to be boring, isn't it? She'll say strong, punchy, something really catch people's attention.
Yeah.
And then it will draw them in. So be different. Especially if you've got other people speaking, be different. There could be something strong that's going to grab people. That gets them focused on you, so they know they should listen. And then you can go into your same speech.
So that just really comes out from just building your confidence and just standing up and just being out there just to present.
You've got to be out there presenting. You've got to be out there doing it. If you're not, you're not going to build on these skills. You're not going to know how should you catch people's attention. How should you focus on them? What do you want to give them? Kind of like you want to give them the good bits. When you're at the cinema and you see the trailer, and it's always sometimes the only good bits in the film.
It's the trailer.
Yeah, the trailer. Exactly. So they make you want to go and see it. They make you pile your money and go. And it is so often that was only the funny bits or the real action-packed bits. So you want to give them that kind of little trailer at the beginning. Right at the beginning, what is it you want to share that they're going to choose? Wow, I want to watch this. So give them that little trailer, something interesting, something punchy, something different that catches them. Then you can go into your main speech. Then you can start working through it. Generally, you want to make a point, then explain it, bit of detail on it, then probably recap the point again, and then go on to your second point.
Yeah.
And do that. I'd say normally for most speeches or presentations, 3 points is enough. Then once you've done that, maybe you can do question and answer sessions.
Yeah.
If you're going to do that, the 3 points, then do Q&A, then summarise. the biggest way you often see people is that they will do Q&A at the end. Then you're not in control of how you finish. Somebody could ask you some really silly questions. Some people go off a tangent. Do you know, funny, we mentioned lunch earlier. I did a speech once, and that was the last question. Oh, what time are we going to lunch? And the writing message I got people walking out the meeting room is lunch.
Yeah.
You know, you want to leave them something to walk out thinking about. So if you can do your Q&A, then wrap the Q&A, then kind of summarise, and then come up with another good, powerful close. Then you've caught their attention at the beginning, you summarised all the way through, so people will follow you, understand the points, and people do mentally tune in now, so it's good to give those little recaps. Nice summary at the end, you have a winning speech.
There's so many things that you could cover. Is there any downloadable PDFs that you have that you can give that to your audience that they can download?
Absolutely, yep. That's a good point, because on the website I've got a little book which is the 7 most common mistakes I've ever seen.
Right.
The ones you often see. So that's on the website, people can download a free copy of that. I've also got some other tips I post there as well as I come along, things I see people doing. So I put those on there as well, so people can read, and there's some videos so they can start learning. And that's just really based on my own experience.
Okay, great. So what's the last final tip you would give someone if about public speaking, about relationships or socials or business?
I would say they've got to do it. They've got to start. Don't hold back and keep waiting till you're ready. Because, and do you know the mistake I made? There's always another course. There's always something new to learn before you're ready. Unless you do it, you're never going to know. Start doing it. Learn a few skills. The 7 speaking tips which we just mentioned has got the biggest mistakes I've seen. Read that, then go forward. Start trying it. Start giving your speeches. And then you'll start seeing where you need to get better. And that itself will start improving the self-confidence.
Yeah.
And as the confidence improves and you feel happier doing them, then you can start focusing on some of the techniques we've covered as well.
Brilliant. So I believe that's as much as we got covered today. So thank you very much, Andy, for your time.
It's been great chatting to you, John. Thank you very much.
I hope you guys find this very useful for your public speaking skills. If you need any more information, it's going to be on the links below, end of the video. And once again, we're pleasure to have Andy here, sharing his expertise about public speaking. So it's Limit Break Lifestyle Academy here. It's Jonathan Poon. Live life with no limits. See you guys soon.